Welcome to the mysterious, stylish, yet electrifying universe of Guilty Gear, where the assassins of the land meet the magic of the arcane, setting the stage for tales of valor, betrayal, and the quest for dandyism. Amidst this cacophony of chaos and melody, we find Slayer, a character whose sophistication and strength are matched only by the depth of his story. I'm Arcadenaut here, and just like we have explored through the stories of Zato, Asuka Arkroids, Johnny, Alfeld Valentine, Abba, and Axel Lowe, today we are delving into the dandiest of all dandies, Slayer. From his origins as the founder of the Assassin's Guild to his latest appearance in Guilty Gear Xrd, let's uncover the whole story of this laid-back, dandiest vampire poet.
The heart turns into stone, hardly stop. Bedtime story, happy ending game, just a snapshot in time. Life is a journey, not a destination. Enjoy the ride with ups and downs.
Slayer, one of the most enigmatic and elegant characters in the Guilty Gear universe, is a vampire whose wisdom and power are unmatched by many. As a descendant of the renowned vampire Nosferatu, his vampiric abilities allow him to execute unyielding attacks and perform blood-sucking techniques. Despite his Romanian or otherwise European origin, Slayer is well versed in Asian martial arts, showcasing his diverse combat skills and broad cultural knowledge, especially in Japanese haiku. Slayer's backstory starts as he founded the Assassin's Guild with noble intentions, hoping to create an organization that would maintain order by removing corrupt leaders. His altruistic vision was to use the guild as a force for good, ensuring that justice prevailed in a world fraught with chaos. As he founded the Assassin's Guild in 1998, Slayer's other goal was to create the supply of the blood he needed. Since he's a vampire, a descendant of the well-known vampire Nosferatu, right? And initially, the Assassin's Guild members were chosen by Slayer to punish those the law could not. However, Slayer met Sharon and began to devote less time to the guild. Around that time, Zato joined the guild as Slayer fully retired. With time, due to the vacuum of power, the guild devolved into nothing but a gang of ruthless killers, its numbers growing day by day. Thanks to the forbidden beast Eddie, Zato's power significantly increased as he became the new leader of the guild, while Slayer was spending his time with his immortal wife, Sharon. Despite his ruthless profession, Slayer is devoted to his loving wife, Sharon. Their relationship adds a layer of humanity to Slayer's otherwise stoic, fearsome, and dandy persona. Apparently immortal and invincible, Sharon often appears by his side, whether delivering tea or letters, sometimes simply sharing moments of quiet companionship. Sharon is also a source of blood for her husband, a necessity for Slayer's vampiric nature as depicted in many of his intros. Their bond is solid and unyielding, providing a glimpse into softer, more personal side of Slayer. The series creator Daisuke Ishibatari confirms that Sharon is just a human but with a physical, unique aspect. Possibly a bug in the information contained in the backyard that allows her to be an ageless and deathless woman. That literally makes her a perfect match for Slayer's vampire nature. On the other hand, Slayer's connections run deep with the Guilty Gear universe. He has a significant relationship with Gabriel, the president of ZEP, and possesses extensive knowledge about various political affairs, particularly those involving the post-war administration bureau. These connections and his vast knowledge make him a key player in the large narrative of the series. Upon returning to the guild after some time, Slayer found that it had strayed far from his idealistic vision. Under new leadership, the guild had become a shadow of its former self, driven by profit and survival rather than the preservation of social order. Disappointed and determined to restore his legacy, Slayer wanted to dismantle the organization he once created. When he notices his old organization descending into chaos due to the absence of its leader Zato 1, Slayer steps out of retirement as his intention is clear: to tidy things up and restore some semblance of order. During the Night of Knives drama CD storyline, Slayer's first appearance is at a party where Milia, Rage and Zato arrive on an assassination mission. He approaches Milia and engages her in a conversation that reveals his perceptive nature and philosophical outlook on life. Slayer invites Milia onto the balcony to enjoy the night sky, where he makes several accurate observations about her predicaments. His insights leave Milia impressed and reflective, marking the beginning of a significant influence on her character. Later to those events, after Milia succeeds in her mission, Slayer reappears, challenging her views on life and death. He questions her about the man she killed, quoting the original Assassin's Code and its purpose. His words begin to fester within Milia, prompting her to reconsider her path. Slayer's disdain for the current state of the Assassin's Guild is evident when he confronts Zato, criticizing the guild's cowardly practices. And his fight with Zato during this drama CD storyline, it demonstrates his unmatched combat skills and unwavering commitment to his principles. And after Slayer's battle against Zato, Slayer's interaction with Milia in her cell are again quite pivotal. He offers her a chance at freedom by cutting her hair, which binds her to her chains. This act of kindness and encouragement marks a critical turning point in Milia's journey towards freedom for her life as an assassin. Slayer's influence helps her to find a new resolve and a sense of purpose, shaping her decisions and actions. And after the Night of Knives storyline, he never attended the second Holy Crusade tournament of the first Guilty Gear title, as his initial appearance was with Guilty Gear XX. Slayer's story in Guilty Gear XX begins with his visit to Kai Kisk, the protector of the day. His visit to Kai symbolizes his respect for the natural order and his desire to maintain the balance. Basically, Slayer seeks Kai's permission before venturing into the sunlight, a gesture that reflects his deep sense of honor, tradition, and gentlemanship. Slayer's motives are to observe other figures of Guilty Gear, sometimes warning them of the Post-War Administration Bureau's intentions, offering guidance, and sometimes for a friendly match to experience his rival's power and talents. During one of his arcade endings, Slayer encounters Eddie, seeing Zato 1's lifeless body being controlled by the Shadow Beast. As Eddie attempts to possess Sharon, Slayer appears to fight for his dear wife. Seeing Zato 1's lifeless body possessed by the Shadow Beast, Slayer feels pity towards the former leader of the Assassin's Guild, saying that he will give a proper burial for the body. As for Eddie, Slayer mocks him, saying that he is 400 years too young to even consider touching Sharon before unleashing his powers. In another ending, Slayer faces Venom, seeing the state of the Assassin's Guild with his own eyes, while wishing to see Venom's growth as well. He explains that his victory is due to Venom's hesitation against Slayer, praising him before disappearing again. However, the third ending of Guilty Gear XX is also quite pivotal. Slayer defeats Ino and then has a brief conversation with that man about the current events. Asuka refers to him as the Noble One before talking about the change in the world. However, Slayer corrects him and says that calling him Nightwalker would be enough. Their conversation reveals Slayer's awareness of the broader conflicts and his concerns about the future. Despite his power and wisdom, it also shows Slayer's acknowledging his own aging and the passage of time. During the events of Guilty Gear XX Accent Core, Slayer contemplates his retirement. He acknowledges his sentimentality and the difficulty of leaving the world behind. His interactions with characters like Milia and Venom are particularly poignant, offering them guidance and planting seeds of self-reflection, as we see Slayer trying to influence them. However, he also fights against them, offering them advice and influence that extends beyond combat, shaping the futures of those he encounters through his wisdom and principles. His willingness to step back and allow the younger generation to take over demonstrates his humility and understanding of the natural progression of life. However, he also wants to tie any loose ends before retiring, leaving a better place for the others. We see Slayer stealing documents about Crow and the Justice copy from Kai and then immediately destroying a post-war administration bureau branch to prevent any calamity from occurring. Later on, he even challenges Faust in a battle of mutual respect, as these actions highlight Slayer's proactive nature and commitment to protecting the world from those who seek to harm it. During his first ending of Guilty Gear Xrd core, after fighting against Potemkin and praising his adamant will and strength, he tells Potemkin to give Gabriel his best regards as a fellow elder. Later, he is shown talking with his wife Sharon after returning to his own world, having trouble coming up with a haiku compared to before. But still, Slayer seems to enjoy the peace and quiet, saying that he has plenty of opponents to fight whenever he's bored. And during his other ending, we see Slayer talking with Anji Mito, as Anji questions if retirement is what Slayer indeed should seek if his blood still boils for the battle. Slayer eventually runs into Baiken, excited by the current generation of fighters, and then decides to start a new organization solely of fighters, planning an attack on the post-war administration bureau. During the Guilty Gear Xrd storyline, we see Slayer sensing Zatowan's revival before the actual events of the story mode. With his desire to see Zatowan's revival with his own eyes, Slayer sets off from his Villa Vampire to see what the world was doing during his retirement and maybe to confirm if that revived being is actually the Zatowan he once knew. Surprisingly, it was the Zatowan he once knew. Respectful towards Slayer but unable to feel human emotions. Trying to determine the main reason behind the post-war administration bureau's attempt to revive Zatowan, Slayer thinks that things might become quite dangerous in time. Later in these events, Slayer's story takes an unexpected turn as he is forced out of peaceful retirement. His tranquility is shattered when Ramlatel Valentine declares war, appearing from the backyard, the mysterious realm that connects all realities. This ominous development stirs a sense of unease in Slayer, prompting him to take an action once more. Despite his preference for a quiet life, Slayer understands that his presence is needed to confront this new threat. While on a mission, Slayer, along with Venom and Milia, becomes one of the 3 Assassins Guild members ambushed by the enigmatic Batman. This encounter was brutal, and although Slayer managed to survive, he sustained a severe injury. Recognizing the danger that Batman possesses, Slayer takes it upon himself to warn others about this formidable adversary. He reaches out to Chip Zanuff, the Jellyfish Pirates, and Faust, emphasizing the peril they all face. His warnings come just in time, as Faust is knocked out by a single devastating attack from Batman. However, this time Chip Zanuff buys the others some time by engaging Batman in combat. This valiant effort allows Johnny and the other Jellyfish Pirates to evacuate the unconscious Faust, along with Venom and Milia, to the safety of the May ship. The assassins reconvene at Slayer's mansion, which has been left in ruins by the recent events. The gravity of their situation is apparent. They resolve to avenge their loss and devise a strategy to defeat Batman. Despite the dire circumstances, Slayer's pride remains intact. He refuses to rely on Zatowan's information about the trick behind Batman's abilities, feeling a deep shame for being caught off guard by Batman's power. This decision highlights Slayer's code of honor and his unwavering commitment to facing challenges head-on without resorting to underhanded tactics. Before heading out to fight against Batman, Slayer wanders through the land until he challenges Zatowan to a serious duel. He wants Zato-1 to give his all as if he wants to kill Slayer. Both fight with all of their power until Zato-1 concedes, saying that he might actually die again if they continue fighting longer, and apologizes to Slayer for disappointing him. However, Slayer thanks his fellow assassin, saying that his blood boils once again and that he might need to use a technique to defeat Batman that Slayer wished to save for Soul Bad Guy all along. And while Batman checks up on a Japanese transformed gear in the middle of a desert, he senses Slayer approaching him. As Batman wonders why Slayer's here confronting him, which Slayer answers with only one word: revenge. They start fighting with both being pretty much even at first. After a clash that shatters the landscape around them, Batman acknowledges Slayer's strength and unleashes 8% of his full power. Their fight is cut short when Melia appears and tells Slayer that Zato is ready to take his place for Batman. Slayer then tells Batman he will let his dear friend pick up where they left off and leaves with Melia. Later on, we see Slayer fighting against the Gears at the Illyrian capital together with Zato, Melia, and even Gabriel of the Zep forces, seeing the light within Zato-1 and the hope for the future. After their fight against the Ariel's forces, Slayer withdraws back to his Villa Vampire and lives a quiet life with his wife Sharon, until he appears as the last character of the third season of Guilty Gear Strive. With the recent update of May 30th, Slayer joins the roster of Guilty Gear Strive with his lovely wife, Sharon. Slayer seems to have learned how to hold back his powers this time, wandering around with Sharon to see how the other characters of the Guilty Gear universe improved. And although Slayer has no role in the Guilty Gear Strive storyline, his arcade journey shines a light on his and Nagoriyuki's background story. During his first arcade battle, he encounters Nagoriyuki after centuries, as Nagoriyuki seems to be relieved to see Slayer in good health. At the same time, Slayer wants to see Nagoriyuki's swordsmanship rather than hearing his good wishes. As their battle concludes with Slayer's victory, Nagoriyuki seems to be disappointed, feeling he still has a long way to go. For that, Slayer invites Nagoriyuki on his journey, thinking that Nagoriyuki would also learn and improve by accompanying him. After all, this was both Nagoriyuki's and Slayer's ultimate goal. Nagoriyuki would challenge Slayer once again to show his master, or rather his teacher, how far he's improved. However, this time, Slayer is quite pleased with Nagoriyuki's performance. Nagoriyuki mentions that a true student surpasses their teacher and that Nagoriyuki would not be able to repay his debt to Slayer like this. During their conversation, we learn that Slayer was, in fact, the reason why Nagoriyuki turned into a vampire centuries ago, and how Slayer saw a man on the verge of death and bid him to give him another chance at life. Through Nagoriyuki's words, we understand that he is, in fact, grateful towards Slayer's decision and how he lived a long life, experiencing different ages, and all that remains is to find his own path forward. As Nagoriyuki and Slayer are parted their ways, the last encounter at the arcade, he meets with Zato-1, who seems to be a bit jealous about Slayer's relationship with Nagoriyuki. Zato appears determined to prove his dandyism is far more dandy than Nagoriyuki's, which seems to amuse Slayer a lot, making him laugh. Zato implies that he inherited all of Slayer's ideals and passed them down to the guild, and would like to improve that his dandyism surpasses Nagoriyuki's by challenging Slayer to another duel where the two of them unleash all of their powers. And without holding back this time. Seeing Zato using all of his powers and pushing Slayer to unleash his excites him even more. At the end of their duel, Slayer uploads and tells Zato how he improved, how he never fails to amaze him, and that Zato passes. Concluding Slayer's story for now. As we wrap up Slayer's journey through the Guilty Gear universe, it becomes clear that his story is a tapestry of elegance, power, profound wisdom that is blended with dandyism. From his noble beginnings as the founder of the Assassin's Guild to his philosophical musings and fierce battles across different timelines, Slayer has left an undeniable mark on the series. As he is one of the key figures of this universe, his interactions with key characters like Milia Rage, Zato-1, Venom and Nagaryuki reveal a man deeply committed to his principles, and always striving for balance and honor even amidst chaos. Whether it's about guiding the younger generation, standing up against the formidable adversaries, or enjoying peaceful moments with his beloved Sharon, Slayer embodies the true spirit of dandyism. His returning Guilty Gear Strive adds yet another chapter to his rich legacy, proving that his influence and allure remain as strong as ever. And it looks like Slayer seems to enjoy this mystifying universe together with Sharon, accepting and enjoying with its all ups and downs. And I hope you enjoyed today's video, and of course if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell icon for more content. Follow me on Twitter and join my Discord channel for more updates, and of course your support through YouTube Join or Patreon is really greatly appreciated. Stay tuned for more exciting content coming soon.